Now you see that it can be defined in different ways. One way is you can see chemical or modern farming had some direct or indirect effect, some harmful direct or indirect effect. And if we can explain in this form also, and then we can say, let us switch over to some other kind of farming, maybe organic farming, maybe precision farming, maybe any kind of farming. But we should know the problems with the shortcoming of the conventional farming. So there are certain direct effects of conventional farming, like reduced soil health. You can explain one by one. Changes in food quality or safety. Food quality is not good. Foods are not safe, means they are having some pesticides. Poor air everywhere. Now Delhi, forget Delhi, many cities are having poor air quality in country. Water quality is also poor, reduced biodiversity, and all points are direct effect of conventional farming. Then indirect effects you can inform about via air pollution. Air pollution can lead to climate change. I explained you. Climate can affect the food quality. Its climate changes are going to affect the food quality very much. I will explain you. And yield can be reduced. So some direct effect of conventional farming and some indirect effect of conventional farming. Now you see the same thing is in a tabular form. General consequences of conventional farming. Decline in factor productivity. What are the reasons why factor productivity is declining? Mainly because of reduced soil health. I'm not going why soil health is reducing. You should know it. That soil health is reducing due to over-exploitation, mining of the nutrients, not following the crop rotations, monoculture kind of things, and so on. And what it will result? It will result in declining returns. Then unsafe food, your pesticides in the food. So why they are coming to our food? Use of banned and other pesticides. Banned pesticides are still used. BSC, DDT are used. Nitrates and heavy metal contamination. What will happen? Declining biological health of the soil. If pesticides, such pesticide reach, so biological health of the soil means health of the soil will be reduced. And then health of the animals will be affected. Because these nitrates can go to human food. And heavy metals can also be in the food or can also be in the water. You apply water which is having heavy metals, or that way this irrigation water can transfer these heavy metals to your food. Or if your soil is having heavy metals, they will come to the food. If your fertilizer or manure is having heavy metal, or it is the source of heavy metal, they will come to your food. So ultimately, these heavy metal will take their way to the food. What will happen? You reduce health of animal and humans. These heavy metals are very dangerous for human health. Third point and important point is reduced nutritional quality. So why there is change in the nutritional quality? Because of climate change. I will show you later how this climate change is affecting the nutritional quality. And reduced soil fertility is also causing the reduction in nutritional quality. If your soil does not contain, say, sulfur, how sulfur will come to your plant? So your plant will also be deficient in sulfur. And ultimately, the protein which are made of sulfur will be deficient in that plant. So that means the quality of the food will be reduced. That particular food will contain less protein. So therefore, your reduced fertility will result in reduced nutritional quality. And then what will happen? What will be the consequences like reduced immunity? If you are not getting nutritious food, then your immunity can be reduced. Because whenever you go to a doctor, doctor will advise you. You take roughage, you take protein, you take fat, you take so and so minerals, vitamins, and so many things. And then you will ask, sir, how I can get it? So then he will advise you food. Okay, the protein is more in pulses or meat. Go for egg, which contain fat and this. And for vitamins, you go for fruits and so on. So then ultimately, you go for your food. So if your food is deficient in minerals and vitamins, then how come you can overcome problems? So ultimately, these are the consequences of reduce nutritional quality. So please remember these three important points. Decline in factor productivity, unsafe food, reduced nutritional quality, their major reasons and their important consequences. So this is how you need to learn to make the story, to explain the things. Whenever you write answer to a question, you write in this way. Then food quality. I was saying that the food quality is declining in conventional farming. Conventional farming means you are adding chemicals, you are adding fertilizers. And the food quality means your content of nutrients. Here, I mean, content of nutrients is declining. So if you compare the two systems, conventional farming or chemical farming and organic farming. So research started very long back. In the brief history, I gave you name Robert McCarrison. He was a major or doctor in army, British Army, and he used to do some research on nutrition also. He was responsible for establishment of National Nutrition Institute in India, Nutrition Research Laboratory in Kunnur. So he studied the relationship among soil fertility, food quality, and human relation. And he very categorically said that there is decrease in food quality caused by increased use of mineral nitrogen fertilizer. If you increase the nitrogen fertilizer in soil, the food quality is reduced. So if you want in detail what are the reasons why it is reduced, I can also give up for detail. I can share such papers with you. So how this excess nitrogenous fertilizer reduce the food quality? Can anyone explain from you how excess nitrogen fertilizer can decrease the food quality? Can anyone answer this question? What excess nitrogen fertilizer will do with the plant? Do you have any idea? If you apply excess fertilizer, then what it will do with the plant?
It will promote the vegetative growth, and it will plant will become more succulent and more means it will be very attractive for the insect or pest, and they will give pest attack, and it will release some chemical that will impact the quality, and there will be some residual poison also that will impact our quality of the food.
Yeah, very right answer. Why were you hesitating to answer it? It's not very everybody should be knowing it, but you had hesitation to explain it. Anyway, he's right. See what happens when you apply excess nitrogen, plant can accumulate more nitrogen. And if it is spinach, for example, spinach or leafy vegetables, they can accumulate nitrates also. The nitrate themselves directly is harmful to human beings. You might be knowing about baby syndrome, blue baby syndrome, something like that. So one problem is like this. Second problem is that, as he told, that plant become more succulent. So it invite more insect pests and diseases. Then to control them, you will be using more pesticides. And also if you apply more of nitrogen, the other nutrients will become deficient. Other nutrients can become deficient because one nutrient, they compete sometimes in the plant system. So excess nitrogen can lead to reduction in some nutrients uptake. So it can affect uptake of some nutrients. I will talk you in soil fertility course, these kind of things. So overall, you can see the flowering is also affected. Flowering in cereal, in pulses is also affected, particularly in chickpea. So that way it reduces the quality, mainly by insect pest and disease damage done by this. And also there may be some problem with the grain filling also. There may be some problem with the grain filling. So maybe less dry matter in the plant material. So overall, you can see that they claim that nitrogenous fertilizer reduce the food quality. And Albert Howard also said that health of soil, plants, animals, and humans are interrelated. So therefore, the food quality is also related to the soil quality. This is the data from National Institute of Nutrition, Hyderabad. This is in public domain. Anybody can see it. I just read one time this down to earth, and you can read the headlines. Protein levels are rapidly declining in all foods in India. The protein content in our food is declining. And you can see the evidences. So this is your National Institute of Nutrition. You can go to the website of this institute. This institute belongs to Government of India, official institute under, I think it is under CSIR Institute or ICMR Institute, I don't know, but it is under government control. And every year they publish the Indian food composition tables, Indian food composition table. Whatever food items are there in India, whether they are raw or cooked, even they analyze the paratha, puri, chawal, your dosa, your wheat, maize, pulses, meat, milk, egg, all kind of food materials are analyzed for nutritional composition. And they prepare the nutritional composition tables every 10, 20 years, haphazard way. They do not do it at regular interval. First time they did it 1937. Second time they did it 1951. Third time in 1971. And fourth time in 1989. And then last time in 2017. So latest survey they did in 2017. It is not survey. They collect the samples and they get it analyzed in the laboratories, and then they prepare the chart or tables. So what is happening in the, what kind of changes happen? So here you can see from 1989 to 2017, there are about 28 years. So what are the changes in food composition in India? In 20 years, from 1989 to 2017, they are shown here. Some results are given to you. So you can see that during these 28 years, 28 years, this, yeah, 28 years. So you can see carbohydrate in bajra has declined by 8.5%. Okay, whole wheat carbohydrate has declined by 9%. Protein has declined by 10.4% in masoor, lentil, during 28 years. So 10.4% here does not mean, suppose masoor means lentil. Lentil suppose contains 25% protein. That does not mean that 25 minus 10.4%. It has become 15%. No, it is not like this. So this is 10% of 25%. So that means if you take it 10%, so 25 into 10 by 100, so it is 2.5. So 25 minus 2.5, that is 22.5. Just assume that if your protein was there in lentil in say 25% in 1989, now in 2017, it has become 22.5%. Is it clear? 10.5% decrease in protein.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And 6.12% in moong, your green gram, whole moong gram. In potato, thiamine, vitamin B1, magnesium, and zinc have declined in 28 years. In ripe tomatoes, thiamine, iron, and zinc have declined by 66 to 73%. And this data is from all India basis. They have collected sample from all parts of India. And iron content by 26.6%. Minus sign means it is a negative side, reduction. 76.6% in green tomato, iron content has declined. And by 60% in apple. 60% in apple has declined. When you will get married, you will have children. And then you cannot teach your children that when you cut the apple with iron knife, then your color of the apple turns brown. Why it turns brown? Because iron present in apple is converted to oxide. Why? When we cut apple, it changes its color after a few minutes. Why it is so? Anybody knows the reason? Yeah, Devender.
Sir, due to browning action, sir.
No, browning. Why this browning? This is change of iron. Iron comes to, I think, oxidized form and it becomes brown. Okay, just you check it. Why there is change in color of apple? So it has something to do with iron. Iron
Sir,
present
there
in.
is an enzyme. Sir, there is an enzyme named polyphenol oxidase.
Okay. But I was knowing that there are changes in iron forms. Therefore, it changes to brown color.
Actually, sir, I only know that enzyme named polyphenol oxidase are responsible for the color change.
Okay, okay. So I may be wrong. Okay. I may be wrong, but I will check and come back to you in the next lecture. Definitely, I will check it. Anyway, so at least we can remember that the apple which people 28 years back were eating are not eating the same apple. This apple is having 60% lower iron content. And it is published by the government. I'm not exaggerating the fact. I'm just transferring knowledge from one place to you. So now you can see percentage change from 1989 level. How much changes have happened and in what kind of food constituent. So first you see the protein. For example, in some cases, it has increased also. For example, in raw milled rice, protein has increased. Suppose it was 7.96%. So now it has increased by 16.76%. You can work it out. However, in wheat, the protein content has declined, minus 17% decline in protein content in wheat. The average was 10.59. Similarly, whole green gram, 22.53% was the protein, in this case, minus point. So you can go through these tables. I will share my presentation. Here, I wish to give you the message that certain quality constituents, food quality constituents have declined, certain have increased. But the important ones, the major ones, the good ones, good quality constituents have declined and bad quality constituents in general have increased. Like carbohydrates has increased. So many people do not want a carbohydrate rich diet. They want less carbohydrate. So you can have analysis of this data yourself. And then see the vitamins and micronutrients. So you can see most of the cases, they have declined. See in rice, raw rice, the thiamine, vitamin B1 has declined by 16%. You need not to mug up or remember this data. This is just to give you some idea. At least one or two you can remember that in apple, iron has declined by 6%. In lentil, the protein has declined by 10.4%. One or two or three data you can remember. And then whole green gum, minus 4.25, potato, minus 40% changes in vitamin B1, decline. So likewise, you can see the other one is tomato. Tomato, you can see zinc content has declined by minus 73.1%, large decline in tomato. And in potato, zinc is minus 47%. In banana, minus 6%. In mustard seed, minus. In most of the cases, you can see zinc content has declined in Indian foods. And iron content also, you can see it has declined in most of the things, even in rice, wheat, and tomato, in tomato, apple, and banana. The iron and zinc contents have declined. Similarly, this is just few examples. You can see for all the vitamins, all the minerals, these tables can be seen. Now, question come, why this decline? Major decline is there in protein content, in mineral content, in vitamin content. What could be the reason? Students should answer it. Why this decline in food quality?
Sir, zinc content decreasing because in throughout the India, zinc become deficient in soil and use of micronutrient is less in farmers' field, sir.
Yeah, very good, excellent. So you are very close. So why only our soils are deficient in zinc only? We have deficiency of carbon also, deficiency of sulfur also, other nutrients also. So can you explain that way also? You explain in wholesome way, not just in part. Okay, not just in part. So our soils are deficient, becoming deficient in copper. Our soils are deficient universally in nitrogen. They are further getting lower in nitrogen, similarly boron and so on. Yeah, somebody was speaking.
Sir, use of
Yes.
straight fertilizers are more.
Yeah, use of straight fertilizer, more of straight fertilizer. So nutrients like sulfur and are getting deficient. Also good answer. Any other point?
Sir, somewhere nutrient balance is hampering too much, sir.
Very good. Nutrient, because if your nutrients are getting deficient, then balance is also affected. Definitely balance is also affected. The reason being the deficiency, or sometimes excess also. Excess also affects the balance, particularly this in certain areas of India where people use more of DAP. So it is creating problem, imbalance in Western UP, in Punjab, Haryana. They have too much of phosphorus in soil. Some study from soil science says like this. You are right. So imbalance is also there. Any other point? But whatever point you told me, can we relate to just soil fertility? If I say that there is problem with the soil fertility, there is some decline in soil fertility, then all the points will be covered. Whether you say imbalance, nutrients in plant application, whatever, but consequence is that your fertility is reduced. So one reason is reduce soil fertility. And second reason, any broader reason, I'm talking about broad reasons so that you can remember. The other reason is climate change. If you do not have any answer, you can just blame the climate change for anything, my dear student. Whenever some questions are asked from you, and if you have one or two answers and you want to add one more answer, let us give it to climate change. And you can prove that. So for anything happening now, people are saying any human sphere of life, whether it is your change of color, somebody says my hair are getting so gray so early, my height is not increasing, my height is too much, I am getting fat, or somebody says that man nahi lagta. Somebody says that my soil is not giving good yield. If you can encounter so many situations in the world where you will not have some answers. So at least to say something, you can put the blame on climate change. Lastly, I'm not saying in the start, you say lastly, because now people are doing economies, how this climate is affecting your spending. You don't want to spend every aspect of your life. Now people are using this climate change. You can remember this thing in mind. So now I told you there are two reasons. One is soil fertility, other is climate change. And then you can explain your different parts to it. So I can say in this deficiency of micronutrient in soil. So this is with respect to soil fertility. So 43 soil samples were deficient in zinc, 18% in boron, 12% in iron, 5.6% in manganese. Many students are from soil science. This data is from Indian Institute of Soil Science and published in 2011. So, and latest data, those who are interested, because for students, latest data is required. I will share in soil fertility course in the next semester that data. The latest data has come for status of nutrients in Indian soils. The data has come from your soil health card project. One project is there by Government of India, where they are testing soil samples and some analysis has been done. I will share that data with you. So that will tell you the current status of soil fertility. Now with this data is latest, but when it was published, 2011. So now there may be a lot of changes in Indian soils. So for the time being, you can remember the fact that Indian soils are getting deficient in micronutrients, particularly zinc, boron, etc. Then next is climate change. Now question comes, how this climate change is affecting the composition of the nutrient, the quality of the nutrient, how it is decreasing the protein content. And in some crops, it is increasing the carbohydrate content. In some crops, it is decreasing the vitamins, minerals, and so on. Why it is happening? So first reason is clear. Suppose first reason is deficiency of micronutrients and nutrients, not just micronutrients, but other nutrients also, sulfur. So what happens if one nutrient is missing in the plant system? Suppose manganese or zinc is missing. So they are involved in many biochemical or physiological reactions in the plant system for the synthesis of chemicals, synthesis of hormones, synthesis of vitamins, synthesis of proteins or other compounds, organic compounds. You need these metallic or non-metallic micronutrients. And if one or two are missing, so definitely those kind of chemicals will not be synthesized. If your zinc is deficient, then your indole-acetic acid will not be synthesized. And this indole-acetic acid may affect several growth and other parameters of the plant, and it can affect the quality of the plant, quality product of the plant. So these micronutrients, because they are involved in respiration, photosynthesis, protein synthesis, all kind of biochemical, physiological reactions that help in the growth of the plant by producing certain organic compounds in the plant system. So thus, your protein synthesis, your other kind of things are affected by deficiency of these nutrients. Now, coming to climate change, your CO2 concentration is increasing in the environment, and CO2 concentration, increased concentration means your assimilation rate of carbon dioxide will increase. I have discussed at one point of time with you during the factors affecting the plant growth. As you increase the CO2, the photosynthesis increases, if you remember, and highest was 1000 ppm. If you go up to 1000 ppm or maybe more than that, you get higher photosynthesis rate. So if your carbon fixation is more, that means your plant will have more of carbon, and that will have some diluting effect on other nutrients. So this excess fixation of carbon in plant results in dilution effect, and the concentration of other nutrients is lower. So you can see this example. Rising level of CO2 affects the plant nutrition. It was published in Nature data. These 2 points, first 2 points below the climate change are from the magazine Nature. I got it. So wheat grown in high CO2 levels, 9.3% less zinc was there, and 5.1% less iron was there, and 6.3% less protein. Means if you grow the plants under higher CO2 concentration levels, your micronutrient content goes down. And the reason I told you, more carbon fixation. Rice case, in case of rice, they did it in both crop, rice and wheat. In rice, it got 5.2% less iron, 3.3% less zinc, and 7.8% less protein. So therefore, you can say the quality of the food is reduced. So because I have shown you some data where micronutrient, vitamins, and so high CO2 lower the nitrogen concentration in plant, which reduces protein content in food. So these are the reasons for decline in food quality. Now, what is the result? Because if Indians or people are eating poor food, so you will not have good health. The data suggests from this reference sources, some sources there. I have given you the link, and 7 in 10 Indians have poor muscle health, low protein levels. So I'm not saying that it is directly related to the food quality, but there may be some link. Nobody has proved the link, but there may be link because our food quality is declining. To get the same level of, because protein content has reduced in your pulses. So to get the same content of protein, you need to eat more of pulse. So, but people have their fixed diet. If I eat three chapati, I will eat 3 chapati. I will not know how much protein is growing. But if I know that I am getting less protein, then I will try to eat 4 chapati to get the same protein. So out of 10, 7 Indians have poor muscle health, low protein levels. So I'm not sure, nobody has linked, but probable cause, one of the probable cause may be there, decline in the food quality in Indian foods. And there may be some As I told you, some research has been done. And if you want to reduce the cancer risk, go for organic diet. There are evidences, and also some harmful effect of chemicals in food has also caused cancer in the people. And in August 2018, Johnson was awarded $250 million in compensation after a jury found his terminal cancer was probably caused by Roundup. So it was proved that this Roundup, or what was the name of the Roundup?
Glyphosate, sir.
Glyphosate.
Glyphosate.
Yeah, भूल जाता हूँ यार मैं इसको. Glyphosate, weed killer. The Independent newspaper has said, and the jury, the court, has found some evidences that this Roundup has caused cancer, and you can also imagine. And this table just suggests I will share with you that most of the Indian foods are having pesticide residues of herbicide, fungicide, insecticides in our food, and they are more than the permissible limit. Point number one, that the residues of pesticides are in many food more than the permissible limit. Second, banned pesticides which have been banned, they are still there in our food items, which is more dangerous. And you can see this data in this picture. And see the blue circles, this 860, 950, this means that 8.6 times more, or you can see 8.6 per 100, 8.6 times more than the permissible limit. This heptachlor was there in the brinjal. Similarly, in cabbage, 95.5 times more, not times, percentage. I'm sorry, this is in percentage. So 3.91 was the level in ppm. So much was the level of pesticide in cabbage. Pesticide was cypermethrin. Cypermethrin was the pesticide, which was 3.91 ppm, and it was 95.5% higher than the permissible limit. Similarly, you see the case of 1324. In rice, chlorphenifos, whatever it is, this pesticide or insecticide was 0.36 ppm, which was 1,324% higher than the permissible limit. So you can go through it. And these, if such kind of pesticides are entering our food, they will cause many diseases of our internal organs. They can affect our kidneys, they can affect our lungs, heart, whatnot. And finally, you will have problems. You will have diseases. Health will be affected. And similarly, you can see this example. These are the floodplains of Yamuna, and the vegetables are grown in the bed of the Yamuna or any river. Go to any polluted river in India, people grow some vegetables. It is not that round the year you will have same quantity of water in the soil, in the river. Water level can come down, and then farmers grow vegetables. And you may consider that how much pesticide and toxic material will enter those vegetables, and they are further washing in the same water, you can see. So they are just concentrating the heavy metals further, and then they can use the same water while they are selling on thela. They use poor quality water, then they are adding some more pesticide or heavy metals to your vegetables. Imagine how much pesticide or heavy metals. And because of all these, mother milk is also not safe. One study from Devilal University, Sirsa, found 0.12 gram of pesticide in mother's milk. 0.12 gram of pesticide in mother's milk, which is 100 times more than the estimated amount by the WHO. 100 times more level of the pesticide in mother's milk. That means a child who is born, he's sucking the milk from her mother, which is already full of pesticide. So what will happen to newly born child? And he has used blood of his mother, and definitely his mother's blood was also having a lot of pesticides. So this newly born child is full of pesticide, you can say. I have seen newly born people, they are having many cases of cancer in young babies. And such, I'm not saying that this is the reason for all problems, but in some cases, if studies are made, this pesticide will also be responsible. And similarly, in our food item like basmati rice, we are getting a tricyclazole, which is not permitted for export purposes. Now its concentration should be less than 0.01 ppm. In European Union, if you want to export your basmati, this should be 0.01 ppm or less. In US, it is 3 ppm and so on. So what I mean to say that many times our food items that we export, they are returned back. They are returned back to our countries because of pesticide. So some economic losses are there. Therefore, people prefer basmati from Jammu and Kashmir. The other countries who import our basmati, they prefer basmati from Jammu and Kashmir because they do not use much of pesticide. They consider that pesticide use is lower in Jammu and Kashmir and their basmati is safe. So people prefer. Somebody's mic is on. So now you can see across India, high levels of toxic material in groundwater. That may be because of natural causes as well as human-made causes. But our groundwater is not safe throughout the country. How many districts are there in India? So this paper suggests that there are about 718 districts in India. Is it correct? A number of districts in the country. IAS की तैयारी तो कर रहे होंगे यार. Many people must be doing civil service. You should know number of districts in India. So there are.
Sir, according to 718 in 2018, it's I think accurate in 2018 perspective.
Okay. So suppose still they are correct, or we did not increase the number of districts. So suppose they are 718. So you can see that most of the districts have some problem with the water, groundwater. So you can see nitrate problem in about 386 districts, and state or UT, you can see 21 state or UT are affected by nitrate problem, and fluoride problem in 335 districts and so on. So you can go through it. But what I mean to say that pollutants like nitrate, fluoride, iron, or even pollution, salinity, arsenic, lead, chromium, they are there in the groundwater. So many times groundwater is also not safe. Cancer train, I think you know, it is going from Bathinda to Bikaner, and I just want to finish it in next 15 minutes. I want to finish it this presentation, and then we can stop the lecture. Just 10-15 minutes more for the last link.